All right, we're going to do a little introduction to exponents and exponential functions. Um, so before we do some examples, let's just get some vocabulary out of the way. This is what you'll hear me refer to as an exponential. Okay, this is the base of your exponential, and this is the exponent. That little superscript there um, is going to be your exponent. Now, um, for example, if I have 5 to the third, that's the same as me writing 5 times 5 times 5. Okay? So that's the basic notation here. Again, this is called your base. This is called your exponent. So that you'll know what I'm talking about when I'm discussing this. So let's do a few examples. So 3 to the first, okay? What is 3 to the first? Well, that's just 3. Anything to the first power is going to be itself, other than 0, okay? 3 squared, that's 3 times 3, that's going to be 9. 3 to the third is 3 times 3 times 3, it's 27. This is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 81. Okay? So that makes sense. Basically, to move forward here, when we increase our exponent by 1, we're multiplying by 3. Well, what does that mean is happening when we're going backwards? Well, what's the opposite of multiplying by 3? Well, subtracting your exponent by 1, if your base is 3, is the same as dividing by 3. So divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. What's 3 divided by 3? So anything other than 0 to the 0th power is actually going to be 1. Now, this makes a lot of sense because if you think about it, when I say 3 to the 4th here, okay, that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And if I reduce it, okay, I take away all of those. I take away one of those, take away another one of those, I take away another one of those. A lot of people will think that this is 0, but it's not like I was doing 0 times 3 times 3 times 3 originally. I was doing 1 times 3 times 3 times 3. Kind of like when you're adding, you're kind of adding to 0. Like 0 is your base if you weren't adding anything. 1 is kind of your base if you're not multiplying anything. Okay. Well, let's keep going. So divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. What's 1 divided by 3? Well, that's 1/3. Well, what if I divide by 3 again? Well, I'm just going to multiply down in division land. And then this would be 1 over 27 and 1 over 81. Now, hopefully you should notice a pattern here, which is that when you change the sign, what you get is the reciprocal. Take the fraction and you flip it. Anything that was being multiplied is now being divided. Anything that was being divided is now being multiplied. Okay. So let's take a look at this one. Okay. 3 to the 5th to the first power is 3 to the 5th. What about 3 to the 5th squared? Let's think about that. 3 over 5 times 3 over 5. Remember, when you multiply fractions, they go straight across. And we can multiply one more time. Sorry, here we go. 125 and 27. So basically, we're just going to wind up distributing that exponent there. Now, that's because what's going on inside here is only multiplication and division. If there's any addition, any subtraction, you can't just distribute your exponent. Okay. Well, what's 3/5 to the 0 power? Well, that's 1 again. Okay, it's saying we're not multiplying anything to 1. It's just 1. 3/5 to the -1. Well, what did we say that the -1 power does? That's going to be our reciprocal. So we're going to get 5/3. Here we're going to do 5/3, but we're going to square both of them. Here we're going to do the reciprocal, but we're going to take the third power. So we're going to cube that reciprocal there. All right. What about rational exponents? Oh, goodness. Well, what's basically going on here, let's focus on the denominator first, okay? What that's basically doing is it's telling you what kind of root that we're doing. So here, when I'm doing 64 to the 1/2 power, that's basically just me saying I'm taking the square root of 64, which should be 8. Okay. So square root of 64 is 8. What about this? This is saying the cube root. Okay, so 64 cube root. Okay. If you look on your cheat sheet that I made for you, you'll see what to the third power is 64? Well, that's 4. But what about something like this, where it's to the third power? Well, that is going to be 64. The bottom tells me what my root is. The other tells me what my exponent is. So this is going to be 4 squared, which is 16. What about this over here? 64 to the -4/3. Well, first of all, I know I can go ahead and take the reciprocal because it's a negative power. And then we can say, okay, I'm going to take the third root of 64 and take that to the 4th power. So the third root is 4. 4 to the 4th, that's going to wind up being 256. So I know that was a lot of information, but I just wanted to get you warmed up on exponents, how they work. So things to remember, when we take a base to the 1st power, it's going to return itself. Okay. When we take a base to the 0th power, it's going to give us 1. Okay. At least for everything except for bases of 0. Okay. Negative powers take the reciprocal. It's going to flip the fraction. So 3 becomes 1/3. 3/5 becomes 5/3. Rational exponents, the bottom is telling us what root we want, and the top is telling us what power. Okay. So there's your rundown. We'll hop into some other stuff a little bit later.